In this video, I'm going to share with you what I believe is the biggest risk that you can face when you invest in individual stocks. Now, don't worry, I'm not just going to tell you what the biggest stock investing risk, but instead what I want to do is I want to share with you how you can mitigate this risk, and most importantly, how it is that you can use this knowledge to protect your portfolio and reap higher returns over the long term. And if you stay until the end of the video, I'm going to share with you some templates and some different tactics that you can utilize to ensure that you mitigate this risk without putting in that much effort. Okay, so when investing in the stock market and in a particular stock, the biggest risk that you can face is the price that you pay for that particular stock. Of course, there are also other risks such as geopolitical conflict, supply shortages, interest rates, and so on. And of course, different businesses will be affected by each of these factors in different ways, and this is something that you do have to keep in mind. But without a doubt, the price that you pay for a particular stock, it is what could ultimately be your undermining. It is the one thing that can destroy all positive value from your investment. Now, you might be thinking that this is a little bit dramatic, and you might be right, but let me elaborate so you get the point. There's an old saying that says, "Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man how to fish and you feed him for a lifetime." When it comes to investing in the stock market, what this proverb is missing is that you can buy the man out and you feed yourself for life. And if you think about it, the reason why this happens is that a man that knows how to fish can now produce earnings. In this case, the earnings are just fish. He's basically like a sole proprietorship for fishing. And if you were able to buy this man out, you would be entitled to all the fish that he catches. But in that case, think about it. How much would you pay for that fish? How much would you pay for that business? The most logical approach is to make this price based on how much fish you think he can actually produce. To better illustrate this point, imagine that instead of one man fishing, now you have 5 men fishing. They all fish in a similar place. They use similar techniques in order to fish effectively. But would you pay the same price for each fisherman? What if some of them are more honest? What if some of these fishermen are more efficient? What if some of them have figured out a way to be able to fish more effectively? By this logic, this would indicate that you may pay a different price for different fishermen. If a fisherman is more effective and is able to produce more fish for you every day, then by logic, this would mean that you would also pay a higher price for that fisherman. Something to consider though is at what price would it be too much to pay for that particular fisherman? Because at some point you may realize that the price you're paying, it's too much relative to the fish that you're getting back. And that is exactly the point. When it comes to investing in the stock market in a particular stock, a higher stock price increases the risk that you will lose money or get a weak return. Some people have the misunderstanding that a higher risk usually involves a higher reward. But when it comes to thinking in this way, a higher risk does not necessarily lead to a higher reward. And this is due to pure mathematics. The return on investment formula is equal to the price you sell minus the price that you paid divided by the price that you paid. Therefore, the higher of a price that you pay, the lower your expected return will be. So altogether, there's a few lessons that you can take away from this analogy. The first is that with this proverb, you realize that giving a person a fish is not very efficient, and the reason why is because you create value for that person just for one day. The next day they're going to be hungry again, and you will also have to provide them with more fish. Whereas if you teach them how to fish, all of a sudden you're creating a lot more value because that person is able to produce earnings or many fish every single day that they can then use to be able to sustain their needs for food. So when it comes to investing in the stock market, as an investor, you really have to think about in terms of what is the return that you're getting or the potential return relative to the price that you're paying. If the price is too high, then this is likely going to add more risks to your investment and lower your potential returns. Lastly, just like all fishermen are not equal or the same, not all businesses, even though they might be in the same industry or sector, are the same. And this is where becoming a good analyst becomes valuable, because you can analyze different businesses and you're able to discern what is the right price to pay for each of them, based of course on their individual strengths and weaknesses. Lastly, if you think about it, the art of stock valuation becomes really important because it ensures that you do not overpay for companies and that you have proper risk management in your investment process. If you want to learn more about this, there's a lot of content on YouTube, but you can also check out our channel where we have dedicated valuation guides that are going to allow you to become a more productive and successful investor. Now you know what the biggest stock investing risk is, and most importantly, how it is that you can mitigate this risk so that way you can make better stock investments that over time are gonna pay off. So that way you protect your portfolio from any big stock losses, and most importantly, so that you can have a more sustainable and larger risk-adjusted return over the long term. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications on. We're going to be creating a lot of really valuable content that's going to allow you to take your investing game to the next level. So don't miss out, and I'll see you in the next one.